So as I continue to explore the docks, why don't you give a little insight onto our
Act-
proverbial mind baby?
Actually, describe our ByaFaye.
Yeah.
So I guess first off, describe the name,
Right.
ByaFaye. So originally I guess okay, I should also preface this idea came from us talking about Shaggy being a god and ruling over like the universes, and somehow we got to this idea of we made our own little universe. I guess that's why we're calling it our mind baby.
Yeah.
And I guess main principles. ByaFaye stands for it's bio and faith.
Right.
And basically, we started with this idea for this thing where in this universe, we're talking about the entire universe, gods are real and they become real by people believing in you.
Right. Like essentially it determines that just the idea of faith is an actual like
It's
tangible energy,
actually yeah.
and that's like harnessable, but it also works as like when conscious beings have faith in something, that thing actually gains like power from it.
Yes, and taking from that point, the more faith you have, the more powerful you are.
Right.
And this spawned this entire thing of like, well, playing with that idea of yeah, whatever. And it doesn't also have to be a person too. We talked about believing in ideas or certain things. If enough people believe, it becomes real. And then that's how
Right.
we came up with the idea. So there's two sides to this coin. The yin and yang of the universe of good and evil of like there's this way that you can take that of like a cult being formed where someone makes you believe in them and they gain power, but they're evil with it. So we talked about cult worlds and ideals like that forming, but also on the level of gods, there's like a hierarchy
Right.
where like whole solar systems will believe in one being and they will have a god, and then that god fights their wars for them because all the wars are
Right.
fought on not a like planetary scale because we're talking about a universe, but on like a different scale.
Uh-huh.
And then that's how we got onto yeah the topic of gods being yeah like soldiers almost, and the power that if faith is a tangible thing, you could switch your belief too. And so if like a god you believe in starts doing bad shit, you could not believe in them anymore. And then that's how we got on the idea of a diplomatic godhood.
Yeah. Right.
Where like a president, you have like like a senate almost of gods, but that are elected through
Yeah,
faith.
because I mean, once as soon as it becomes like a resource,
Yeah.
then it automatically some form of like government will form.
Yeah, will form in some places. Yeah.
And we figured we'll save most of our ideas for this stuff to be fully explained
In
like
a podcast,
in a
yeah,
podcast format.
we've totally broken down. We have a lot of players in the universe, like creatures and beings, like the brain.
I think the two that we should explain now are, was it just called the brain?
Wasn't
it?
We
I feel like it was something.
We named it. I have a document with all this shit in it, but
I guess it was kind of just the brain, at least in general.
we had this idea because the other side of this, the bio part of it, is that at the core of everything is bio is nature, and it takes two sides to make a sentient being. It takes bio and it takes faith. And on
right.
the bio side, we also played with ideas of things that have zero faith. And we started to play around with like what happens if there's like an atheist in this world where faith is a tangible thing.
Right, it was like a planet that becomes so technologically advanced that it doesn't necessarily require faith. Like, it doesn't need a god to protect its society.
Yeah.
And then eventually it becomes like a singularity where all the consciousnesses of the race are uploaded into one thing, which then becomes what we refer to as the brain.
The brain.
Which is a collection of planets held together by enormous metal like arms, except they're launched like harpoons into the other planets, and they send enormous electrical pulses in order to basically have thought.
Yeah.
And like it carries signals that way, and it's so massive
So and like
that
yeah,
it can be
like,
seen
so massive
in the night sky, and like you can see the pulses of the so-called neurons firing, except it's just whole planets like integrated
in a web.
in a web. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that once we hooked onto that kind of idea, that because that's sick,
Right.
God, just remembering that is fucking
Dude, me too.
sick,
Remembering all
man.
this is so sick.
But so we just played around with that idea as well, like the and then we came up. I guess I don't know how much we want to explain of like the story of it, but the outsiders.
Right.
We talked about a people that were born on the outside of the universe. That because I guess we should preface also that the creation of the universe happened when two brothers were just messing around, Bio and Faith, or I don't remember what we named them
I think it
specifically.
was. I think it was Bio
just
and
Bio and
Faith.
Faith because no one truly knows what they are and who they are.
At this point it's legend.
Yeah.
But it's also so like the ideas that are presented in the legend of Bio and Faith being powers are so like real and tangible that it's still like, even though it is a legend, it's still considered real by most, except for the people on the outside.
Yeah.
Because there was also something that I thought was really cool. I remember we thought about how we wanted the universe to work. We kind of actually wanted space-time to work a little differently.
The opposite.
Because we're on a universe scale here, so
Yeah.
even that sort of thing is ours to decide. And
Yeah.
we the way we liked, or the way we ended up liking it was the like moving, like imagine the universe as a bunch of concentric spheres, and the farther out you go, how's the best way to explain? Like horizontal movement is effortless and timeless, like movement within your own layer of the sphere, but moving in between the layers of the sphere, like going towards or farther away from the center of the universe, is what's like difficult to do travel wise, concerning like how much time it takes, and how much like effort it would take to move through space that way. And that sort of thinking about it that way kind of made the way the whole universe would interact with itself different.
Because like for our thing, instead of like, because in our universe the oldest planets are the furthest away,
Right.
but in this universe the core of it is like a core.
And
it's like where everything started, and it's the oldest.
Instead of the things starting in the middle and then expanding outwards, it was like things started in the center and then built on top of it to expand outwards, rather than it actually expanding like a balloon.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so then we had this idea of actually putting a story in this universe where outsiders who were born on the outside rim of the universe are the only beings in existence to have been born without faith, because they're the farthest from where the faith
like
is.
the faith center.
Yeah. And they were and they're completely bio creatures. So they're like, and being of full bio, they're like superhuman, like almost to God level.
Like their physical capabilities are super enhanced. Because they have so much focus on bio rather than faith.
Mm-hmm. And we had this idea where they were starting to get killed off by the brain.
Right.
And so they had to traverse, because they were the only ones who truly know of the people who are at the center of space.
Oppositely of the outsiders, they are beings of almost pure faith.
Yeah.
And so like their corporeal forms are like kind of abstract or weak, but they are beings of like pure faith energy. And what were they called? Like it wasn't like the ancient ones.
It was something like that, but yeah. And
it's been a long time since we've thought about this stuff.
It has been a long time.
It's been like almost a year at this point.
Yeah, it has. So we have a doc with everything. During the podcast, we'll actually break down everything fully.
Yeah. Might be podcast episode 2, I'm thinking.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, after our first podcast episode coming soon, hopefully.
Yeah.
Will be just explaining how we met and everything. And then, yeah, second episode we'll go into ByaFaye. But touching a little bit more on it, they were the beings who don't truly understand who Bio and Faith are, but they know the most because they're at the very
outsiders
center.
you're talking about. Or no, you're talking about the people in the center.
Yeah, in the center. They have like the most knowledge. And
Right.
so the people on the outside, they know of the people on the inside. And they want to get there. But they have to
Right.
go through the entire universe. And then what we wanted to do is have like some kind of thing where like a ship of such massive size that holds planets of population, and they have to get to the center of the universe and traverse through all the faith and everything. Because there are good planets, and because we were talking about a universal scale.
Right.
So there is like a federation that's formed of faith and everything, but there's also a darker side to it.
And remember, there's the other group that we talked about. I can't remember what they were called either.
Yeah, the ghosts.
Yeah, but essentially these are beings, I guess, of pure faith.
Pure faith.
Because they're the
Pure
opposite
faith.
of the brain.
Yeah.
And they have literally no physical form, but they do take physical forms by inhabiting other people.
Yeah.
By inhabiting biological organisms. And they constructed whole
The
civilizations.
The presence. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good name.
That's a good.
The presence.
We call them the presence because you never truly know if they're there. But
Right.
if a planet is infested by the presence, then slowly everything will start to turn duller as the presence absorbs the very faith from the beings and everything around it to keep their forms.
Because they genuinely feed on faith power
Yeah,
as well.
They
yeah.
need to feed on. It's the same thing of why the brain feeds on bio, because that's what's running it at this point.
Right.
It's gotten to a point where it needs bio.
like physical thermal heat
Yeah.
from the planets
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
So that's why it's slowly consuming the universe, because it must feed. And
Right.
it has no thought other than that.
Right, but it's still like a computer level
Yeah.
intelligence.
Yeah, it is
so
a super intelligence.
It can be tactical and stuff, but it's just its sole goal is to expand because it wants to continue to exist.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't continuously harvest more power, then
Yeah.
its brain function will stop. Because the core planet where it started is definitely long dormant at this point. Because it just used all of the heat energy in it and just solidified the core, I'm sure.
And then that's the exact same thing on the presence's side.
Sucking the faith out of
Sucking the
everything
faith,
they inhabit.
Oh man, it's so sick.
Yeah.
The presence.
But yeah, this came about last time we were playing this game, tripping out. And it's our favorite thing, and I'm sure we're gonna try to do something with it one day.
Yeah, I wanted to write a book or something on it, but just something that you truly keep evolving the things about it and what we could do with it, because there's so many little things you could play around with.
Yeah.
And we also wanted Bio and Faith to be reoccurring characters who are because they in a world of gods, they are gods, truly gods.
Right, above everything else, because they give gods power.
Yeah, I remember us talking about the power levels of gods. There are beings known as creationists. There are beings that have
I think the creators or something like that.
There are gods that have gotten to a level of true godhood where they have been able to create life, but nothing on the scale of Bio and Faith, obviously.
Right. By the way, awesome, Scoob. You just found the professor super smashing
Hell
that thing.
yeah!
Making good progress.
Zeus's power. We ate it from the lighthouse.
Oh, okay, this is down smash.
Yep.
Okay, nice.
So now we can go back and press all those buttons.
God, there were so many buttons. Oh my
there's-
god, he does a fucking... How many
Holy
spins is
shit.
that?
Oh my
It's like
god!
a quadruple flip. Did you see that video that just came out of the guy doing the first ever non-upple flip on the
No.
huge... They have a huge trampoline. There's 10 people that bounce him.
Yeah.
And he goes 50 feet in the air and he's just spinning like Sonic.
Holy
It's
shit,
fucking
that's-
crazy.
that
The
sounds sick.
first ever non-upple flip. How far are we, by the way? How long is this episode?
15. We've been talking about ByaFaye for 15 minutes.
I think we ended here. Let's just make that the ByaFaye episode.
Ended on the ByaFaye. All right. Yeah,
And
we
next
got the
time-
power, and
Next time we can go back and press all these fucking buttons.
I can't wait.
Can't wait. All right.
Bye, man.
Bye, man.